Well, I don't know if YouTube will sit there and allow this on because, but I guess if I speak, maybe you figure it out. Maybe it goes down. And you know what? If you're on YouTube, you probably should get off anyways and go to Odyssey. Duh. Which is where all the videos are at, anyways. So, I've been hanging around Vax people for my son and his senior trip. And yeah, I've had some female side effects, which sent me down the rabbit hole because the thing is, I took ivermectin and that didn't stop it. And I always take NAC at night. And this time, my husband goes, why don't you take more of it? I was like, oh, you're probably right. So I take an extra dose of it. Pretty much within an hour, it slows down. By the evening time, it stops. I was like, oh, finally. Obviously, because, I already do NAC at night, the extra dose is what finally stopped it. So it sent me down a rabbit hole. Doctors are telling you that these people are shedding a spike protein. And they theorize this. I wouldn't say that they're so confirmed on it because no one's done any research to sit there and see, oh yeah, that's what it is. They're shedding spike. Yeah, that's positive. We all know this now. But I shit you not. So I go down this rabbit hole, and I have to go down the rabbit hole in the sense of just COVID, where they'll actually talk about the spike protein. It's like, okay. So in doing this, I find, and this is not going to be like a scientific research, blah, blah, blah. Go do your own research. But I'll tell you the rabbit hole and the steps I took to get there. So NAC produces glutathione, and then on top of that, I go and find out ACE receptors are involved, ACE2, and just ACE in general, antigens and all that fun stuff. And I was like, oh, okay. So then I look into the what NAC does and what it's binding to. I was like, all right, so okay, what is that in COVID? COVID is binding to this particular receptor. Oh, okay, it's an ACE receptor. So, all right. So the NAC is pretty much binding to that before this happens. Okay. So then I keep going, female reproduction. What's down there that's making everything have a coronary? It's like, oh, that ACE receptor is down there, and it's really high at certain times in the female reproduction cycle, whether it be pregnancy or, the monthly. I was like, oh, okay. So then it got me thinking as I'm, remembering stories from people. I was like, I wonder, because one of the cells that has a lot of the receptors that spike loves is the female egg. And so at that time when it's really out there, it's got a lot of those ACE2 receptors, a whole lot. And you know what? I wonder if during that time, that's why you see people bleeding in that early time. It's like, oh, that makes sense. And I wonder another time, because there's another part in the female reproduction in pregnancy that a lot of those receptors are saying, hey, here I am, come get me. And then that's where you hear about the miscarriages. It's just a thought that ivermectin really didn't do it for me to stop this nonsense, but NAC did. But that was just my body. And I don't know if I'm normal because I've been hanging around these vax people trying to get this school stuff and swearing to myself that I will not play with these people anymore. It's like, Jesus, just stay away from me. Anyway, just an FYI, do your own research. Thought it was an interesting little bit.